You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here today to discuss the up-and-coming game on Saturday against Chelsea. What some may class as a possible free hit, likewise what it was at Man United, because it's going to be another very, very tough test for us down there. But to help me to discuss this, we've got Kev and we've got Robin. How are we doing today, Kev?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, it's one of those games, isn't it? If you get anything out of this, it's it's a bonus. But I do genuinely feel that we should be going to these games now to try and get something out of it. So yeah, it's certainly gonna be an interesting weekend, put it that way.
Definitely. And Robin, how are you today?
Yeah, good mate. Recovery's going well. So yeah, so obviously I won't be at the game unfortunately, but be listening to it on radio and etc. and stuff, and hope that we get 3 points.
Indeed. Let's start off then. Something that you just alluded to there, Kev, about going down, and we should be we should be going in full of confidence, and regardless of what happens, and just see what we can do. Obviously, we've just came off the back of a 2-0 win against Wolves. Obviously, we've seen mixed reviews online from Wolves supporters saying, you've beaten us when we're at our lowest, and then others saying they should have won, etc., etc. Regardless, it's still a 2-0 win to us. We should be taking that confidence of that win and the manner of the win down to Chelsea, and just see that effectively go at it from minute one. Yeah,
100%. I mean, the big thing for me is Regis will have learned from Manchester United. He will have learned that he got the formation wrong. He will have learned that you can't go to teams like that, play your style of football, because they will punish you. And obviously, as we found out 10 minutes in when he made, 20 minutes in when he made the change sort of like plans, that, yeah, we needed to go five at the back. I feel that's probably realistic for how we're going to set up against Chelsea. I think we're probably going to go with quite a defensive setup. But obviously, with us finding out today that Aldrete's got concussion, it gives him the small headache of what backline does he go for. I know you two discussed it in the pod, in the chat earlier about who you think it should be. But yeah, I do think he will have taken some feedback on from the Man United game, and will probably try and encourage Chelsea to have possession, and then we'll try and play our style of football on the counter. But I mean, you lads crack on with talking about your thoughts, because like I say, you discussed it earlier in the chat about, who should be at the back. I mean, hey, Luke could be in the squad here. Maybe not.
Well, no, look, he'll be in the squad. Whether or not he's in the team is a separate issue. Obviously separate to Man United. I mean, obviously Labrie got that wrong. He admitted it, but he did change it. With Chelsea, I think we'll start with a flat back four. I think, obviously, Hume will revert going back to his right back position. I think Mukiele will join Ballard in the middle. And obviously, Ronaldo will come back in as the left back slot. Obviously, we've got Masuaku, we've got O'Nien. Hertrude can play in defence as well. I don't think we'll go five at the back or three with wing backs, because the Chelsea setup, they tend to set up in a 4-2-3-1 formation. Whereas obviously United set up, with wing backs, and obviously with Ahmad and was it Cunha or Embuemo, wasn't it? Obviously they was playing quite wide and causing us a lot of issues. Chelsea tend not to overload the wings. They tend to go more through the middle. Obviously they do have wingers, but their wingers tend to go down and try and get crosses in. So I think we'll go with a flat back four, and I think obviously Ronaldo is probably a little bit more. not really qualified. I think that's the wrong word, but I think he'll adapt better to someone running at him than what Masuaku did. Obviously, Masuaku didn't really get any help from Dingra in that game as well, which we touched on when we did the review.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll sort of see us lining up in our usual 4-3-3 formation, to be honest.
Just on that, because we know that I was pretty much in agreement with you, Robin, in the chat about Ronaldo effectively coming straight back in the fold and playing the back four. Question for you: if we talk in regards to say Kev's idea of the potential of a back five, would you look at it potentially say Ronaldo out left, Hume on the right, and then in the middle have the Mukiele, Ballard, and then the Geertruida? Would you do it that way?
Um, well, I'm not really sure. I think you could sort of, if you wanted to do that, you could really put Masuaku on the left and put Ronaldo into the centre with Ballard and Mukiele, because obviously he can play centre back as well.
True.
And keep Hume on the right. But I don't think that will do that. To be honest,
Yeah.
might do. But
Mhm.
I think then we're going to get overrun in the midfield.
Yeah.
I think obviously because Chelsea sort of, like I say, they're a 4-2-3-1 with two sort of holding midfielders and then three behind the striker.
Yeah.
I think he'll go with our usual formation. So obviously we've got our midfield stacked sort of thing, so we're not getting overrun in the middle of the park.
Mhm.
Obviously,
No,
we
no.
know we can transition well and move the ball wide.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be the same as usual. I think out of possession we'll sort of probably go with a low block, or park the bus as people used to call it. And then, try and play through them on a quick counter and use, the pace that we've got with Wilson, Talby, etc., depending on who he's going to play.
Mhm.
Obviously, Diarra's still not fully back. Siddiqui, obviously, he did turn his ankle in that last game. We
Yeah.
haven't really heard anything, so we expect he's fit. So, with the exception, really, of Alderete,
Mhm.
dropping out and Ronaldo coming in, I think we'll probably go with that same formation.
Okay, no problem. And Kev, this is where I'll bring you into. So Robin's just touched on there really nicely for us about the midfield and then obviously your three forwards. Are you sticking to the likes of Siddiqui, Xhaka, and Rig? And then up top, are you changing it up a bit, keeping Wilson in the middle, Talby on the right, and then obviously Adingra on the left? Is that something what you're looking on Lang's side of, or what about
Yeah,
you? What do you think?
I would think so. I mean, for me, I've got a lot of space for Dan Neil, but I just don't think it, we can go with him from the kickoff. I think he
Mhm.
does a good job when he's brought in later on in the game,
Mhm.
but I feel that we do need to utilise the likes of Siddiqui with his pace to try and manage that midfield a little bit with Xhaka, because when you look at it sort of overall, and as Robin mentioned earlier in the pod, Chelsea are very good at running at you through the middle. Obviously,
Yeah.
Cucurella's a handful. He draws a lot of fouls. Maybe that's one thing Ronaldo should be trained on this week is don't do anything stupid like pulling hair because you will get another red card. And
Yeah.
that's my genuinely that's my big worry this game is if Ronaldo comes back into the swing and then goes and makes a stupid mistake.
Mhm.
Hopefully he's learned his lesson from his lapse in concentration, shall we say.
Mhm.
Um, but hopefully he's proven enough on the training pitch to get straight back into the squad.
Mhm.
But no, in terms of the midfield, I think we do, like you say, stick with the likes of Enzo and Rig, Xhaka. Those three do really well in the middle. Um, I agree. I think Talby starts. I don't see the reason people throw shade at him saying he's not done anything and he's not producing like we thought he would. He's
Mhm.
got 2 assists so far this season, and when he started for us, he wasn't. Well, the rumor was he wasn't 100% fit. So
Yeah.
yeah, for me, you can't really drop Talby. And then, yeah, I would like to see Adingra do something. I would like to see him start, but you've also got to throw it in the mix. Do you throw Mayenda into the middle and do you put Wilson on the wing? And, you know, you start looking at the headache that we could create for ourselves up there.
Yeah, it is one of those. Robin, do you want to shed any thoughts on your thoughts on that? Because I know your way of thinking sometimes.
Well, look, I mean, we have got the squad. There is about rotation now. Obviously, Traore's had a couple of starts now. He's done all right. He's not lit up the world, so to speak.
Yeah,
But, I think that on the left, sorry, on our right side, with the way that we want to play, he might still be the best option at the moment.
okay.
Talby looked a lot better on the right hand side when he obviously had the runaway and for the second goal against Wolves. But obviously, the way that we like to play, he does like to have the inverted wingers and stuff, which obviously, Talby does suit the right side for that as well. It's bit of a strange one, really. But I mean, do you stick with Traore? I think we probably do. Just to have that balance.
Yeah,
And maybe bring Talby on a bit later in the game. Say the same with the Dingra. I think he'll start with Lafay. Lafay's a lot better defensively. He tracks back. He puts tackles in. I think that's going to be the important thing. I think we need everybody to work. With Wilson as well, I think he needs to work. I know what Kev was saying about Ronaldo and not being silly, but I think with the exception of the other night in the Champions League, I think the previous four games for Chelsea, they'd had a man sent off in each of those.
yeah,
Yeah.
So they're quite used to a red card themselves. So I think we've got to look at that as well. I think the danger man for them for winding up the players, the dark arts is obviously Cucurella, as Kev mentioned. He's got something about him. He likes to leave that late one in, like obviously that happened
Cash did.
with Ronaldo, like Matty Cash did. So. Cucurella's quite used to that. He tends to be a bit sneaky with it, gets away with a lot. And then, if someone breathes on him, obviously he goes down like he's been shot.
yeah.
So, we just need a strong referee. The bridge is quite a tricky place to go. They're one of those so called established top six teams, since the Premier League started. And obviously they had all the Abramovich money, and so it is going to be tough. I haven't seen the referee appointment yet, so I'm just hoping it is someone who's going to be strong and that the VAR actually do their job properly for a change.
As long as it's not a Stuart Atwell, we'll be fine.
No, he'll be too busy watching a Man United game.
True.
Yeah, but I mean, you got him. You got obviously you got Jared Gillett as well, which doesn't matter if he's on the pitch or in the VAR booth. He seems to get
Referee's
everything
Andrew
wrong.
Madley, by the way, boys.
Yeah.
I
We've had Madley earlier in the season, haven't we? As far if I remember rightly.
believe he also refereed us for the playoff final.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. Yeah.
So, yeah,
So
he's a good old boy. Ask me the
we'll,
same question on Sunday morning, lads.
we'll drop him the 50 quid before the start of the game. We'll be fine.
Yeah,
But no, obviously speaking about Chelsea, though, as you mentioned there, Robin, Cucurella is their danger man. Obviously, they've had a game already this week, and they won. I believe have finished 5-1. Three of which of their goals came via a penalty decision. So otherwise, they couldn't have scored probably. I digress. They're a decent team, and regardless if they've played in Europe this week, we know for a fine fact being they've got an abundance of players, so they can, if they really wanted to, utilize so many different players.
Well, yes and no. I mean, obviously they've got a Premier League squad which they have to name, and they can't go over that. Obviously, you can bring as many young homegrown players into it as you want,
Yeah,
but the actual thing that they can't bring players in. They have got a few injuries. I think Gusto's suspended. The danger is obviously they score goals. They've scored 7 more goals than us in the same amount of matches. They have, however, conceded 3 more. They're on +7 at the minute, where we're on +3. Obviously, we haven't really scored a lot of goals. You know, 9 goals in 8 games where they've got 16. So, yeah, you know, they're capable of scoring. So we've got to make sure we're disciplined at the back. It's going to be a different thing, I think. Obviously, aerial threats, I think we're more than covered because obviously with Ballard and Mukiela, especially if he's going to be in the middle this week. Aerially, I think we've got enough to, you know, defend our box very well against any team.
Yep.
You know, it's just that intricate sort of play and the balls through the side and stuff. I mean, I watched most of their game the other night and Guiu actually looked quite dangerous. You know, so he's going to be one that we have to watch. I mean, yeah, look, he's getting an opportunity, so he's going to want to do his best and score goals to his parent club. You know, obviously he was short-lived at our place. But yeah, look, he's a Chelsea player, and that's it. They've got more than enough to cause anyone problems on their day.
Yeah, indeed. Do you want to shed your thoughts on that, Kev?
Yeah, pleased to report that Atwell and Gillett are nowhere near us this weekend. I've just checked. It's Tim Wood on VAR. So we're all good this weekend for those two lads.
Did you just
Look,
pay the FA just a couple of quid there to make
I
sure
just
that
slipped
didn't
them a
come in?
tenner. Yeah. Just quickly PayPal'd them. Said, look, lads, make sure it's nowhere near us. No, look, in terms of the squad this weekend, I do think Chelsea, they've got depth of squad, haven't they? Let's be honest. They can, you know, that the joke is there that they're basically, you know, Brighton's their feeder club, and you know, every player that they buy seems to come that way. But yeah, I think obviously they've got Pedro up front if he's fit. Obviously, yeah. Obviously, we know about Guiu. Um, it's just for me, it's going to be an interesting one to seeing how they set up. Obviously, I know we've talked about injuries they've got. Cole Palmer's not going to feature, which is probably a relief for everybody because of his groin injury. Um, they've got a handful of players that are, you know, with viruses and niggles. Like you say, I'm sure Gusto's red carded this weekend, but I've also seen rumours online saying he's eligible, but he's got a virus. So yeah, it's difficult because you just don't know what version of Chelsea is going to turn up on the day. You know that yes, they're an established Premier League side. Yes, they've had a lot of money pumped into them for the last decade, but I do think part of their challenges have been who to pick to play. You know, Maresca, their manager, he wasn't loved by them for a while. Their fans, you know, they were always saying, "Oh, he's not good enough." When he left, it was Leicester he was at, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I know a lot of their fan base was saying, "Oh, who is he? He's not very good." But all of a sudden now he's got them playing a bit of a tune. Their fans seem to have switched on to him and actually seem on board. But yeah, for me, we just need to go down to London this weekend and almost treat it a bit like a Wembley. It's the journey that we're used to. We've done the London trip before. Go down and try and get something out of it, even if it is a smash and grab 1-0. Leaving there, for me, the big thing is we need to go down there. I've said this so often, and probably people are sick of hearing it. We need to go down there and we need to come away with no injuries.
Yeah.
Because we are rapidly approaching the month from hell. We're only 6 weeks away from December. And we know in December, 5 weeks. Thanks, Robin, waving at me there. Either you're calling me a name, I don't know. But no, for me, we're like 5 weeks away from the month from hell.
Yeah.
You know, this is when we've got, I mean, to be honest, the fixtures we've got coming up in the next fortnight ain't great. Chelsea, Everton, Arsenal. Like, hello, they ain't exactly 3 easy games. Everton are trying to
I've
prove
got
a
another
point.
international break.
Yeah, mid-November. There's another one, isn't there?
Yeah.
But
So,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, but hopefully by that international break, Diarra might be back, just in time to go to AFCON. But no, I think for me, we treat Chelsea a bit like a Wembley-esque match. We go down like we normally do the night before. We prep for it. It wouldn't even surprise me if Regis isn't doing his turbo nerd thing, and we're down there Thursday. We might even have travelled today. there are a lot of clubs down there that we get along with that we could possibly use their training facilities tomorrow
Yeah,
because
exactly.
he seems so well in tune. I mean, if you watch the Jermaine Defoe video this week from the club, they've installed new facilities at the academy that no one knew about. Cages
Mhm.
around the training pitches to help reduce like the wind and stuff, and like that's next level. And that's the sort
Mhm.
of thing I want Regis to do is treat Chelsea like we need to go down there and win it.
Yeah.
He should be doing that anyway, but yeah.
Well, if you want to do next level, I've forgotten what the Leeds' previous Leeds manager was called when he did the whole drone situation. Apparently,
God, yeah, that was they talked about that the other day on Talksport,
yeah,
on the drive into work that it was the old we've had people in the bushes, and
yeah,
that was Leeds, wasn't it?
yeah,
You're on about Bielsa.
that's the one. Yeah,
That's the
thank you.
one. Thank you, Robin. See, you're a font of knowledge. That's why we're glad to have you back. Not for any other reason.
Yeah, I think that I do agree with you. Regis is meticulous in what he does. He he will always like to make sure things are done with a fine tooth comb, shall we say, into the last 80, which is good. So it's going to be an interesting game and very exciting game to watch and be ready for. I think we've pretty much covered everything other than predictions. Oh, Robin, yeah?
Just quickly, Adam, I just want
Mhm.
to obviously point out, I think that Chris Rigg might have an absolutely blinding game this weekend.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's been talk in that, and Wilson said about it, he's been a bit lazy in training and stuff. And obviously, Jacques has had a word with him, and since then, obviously, his attitude's changed and stuff. And Riggy's admitted it himself. I think it's probably one of those where he's gone in from obviously the unders, the academy.
Mhm.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, he could still play for the unders. You know, both teams. It's and it's probably been easy for him growing up that he's been the best footballer by a mile and not really had to put that much effort in.
Yeah.
And obviously now you've got someone like Granit Xhaka who's, been there, seen it and done it, got a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And he said, look, if you want to be top level, you're going to have to put a bit more effort in, try a bit harder, take this a bit more serious.
Mhm.
Um, so I think, we might see the making of Rig, in a game like Chelsea where obviously we're not going to be favoured to sort of like maybe play our best and that. He might just shock a few people and have an absolutely worldy performance.
Yeah. The kind of what you're saying then, because the Xhaka rig thing is kind of like you've got the talent, so use it or you lose it. Effectively, you'll lose your place in the team, so to speak, to somebody else that will show their talent, so to speak.
Well, you
So,
just got to think when, Diarra comes back, I mean, he's extremely hard working. He covers the distance.
mhm,
That's what Siddiqui does. Siddiqui covers the distance. Shaka had done more kilometres against Wolves than any other player on the pitch.
yeah,
So if you're in the engine room, then you've got to do that. You've got to put the effort in and, give 100% all the time.
indeed, yeah,
But his legs are gone. He's old. He's past it. He can't do it anymore. Yet yesterday there was a tweet put out saying he's covered the most ground in the Premier League.
Hey,
Yeah.
so
No, Granit Xhaka's too old.
Robin's
He doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
Robin's legs have gone, but we have to allow him on the pod.
Mm.
But do you know what I mean? Robin summarised it absolutely perfectly
Yeah,
in the fact that yeah, Xhaka's come in as this leader, and he has probably grabbed some of those players that were not lazy. I would never describe Riggy as lazy,
yeah,
but maybe just thinking, I'm here, you need me, that kind of
yeah,
attitude. And I think he's probably likely to have been one of the old school kind of players that's clipped them round the ear. I know we're not allowed to do that anymore, and said, "Come on, get on with it."
yeah.
I mean, should we
I
just
think,
quickly mention, the Northern Premier League Cup or whatever it was the other night, where players that we thought didn't exist anymore reappeared. You have
yeah,
to wonder if maybe a conversation's been had with them saying, "Sort your lives out.
mhm.
Do you want to play football or not? Do you want to be footballers or do you want to be Instagram people?"
Yeah,
But no, I think the likes of Riggy, he's going to have bought into this now. And what's he had now? 2 solid games in the Prem properly. I
Mhm.
would say he's had a couple of wobbles, but yeah, the couple of games now he's featured, he looks annoyed when he's substituted off, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
I want that part of Riggy that we had in the Championship that was miffed when he got substituted because he didn't do what he wanted to do. For me, Riggy is a player that wants to score, wants to get an assist, wants to do more. And if he can't tick one of those 3 boxes in a game when he's substituted, he's annoyed because he feels he should have done something more. And that's what I want. I want a hungry player like that out of Rig. I want Dan Neil to do that.
Mhm.
For me, Dan Neil getting on with 5 minutes to spare, 10 minutes to spare isn't fair. He deserves 20, 30 minutes at least.
Mhm.
But the player he's going to be replacing is probably Riggy. So,
Yeah.
and for me, I think if you'd have said last season that Rig would come ahead of Neil,
Yeah.
it would have probably said you're drunk. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But it shows the level maybe that Riggs for me, Riggs got a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's not being disrespectful to Dan Neil. I don't want people to think I'm digging the lad out, but for me, Dan Neil's probably a mid-prem team player.
Yeah.
Rig could end up going to the top of the Premier League for someone, but we
Mhm.
need to get as much of that out of him now.
Yeah. I agree massively with what you're saying in regards to the Xhaka. I'll close it out there for the Xhaka thing and then do predictions. Is you can tell, as I think I've said this on numerous pods as well, you can tell when the lads are coming out to training, when the lads are coming out to like training for the prep for the match, and then for the match, you can see there's type of the word aura about the lads. And I think this is because with Xhaka's got them in the remit of thinking, right, lads, let's go out full of confidence, do what we do best, and we play football effectively. Not we're here to score 4, 5, 6 goals in a game. It's let's play football, let's enjoy ourselves. If it's similar to, I think what Robin kind of alluded to us to after the Man United result is Jack will be the one that'll get them back in the dressing room and go, right, it's 2-0. What went wrong? What went right? Dust yourselves off. There's another game next week. Move on. And Jack even said that in his post-match comments one day, I think, saying whether we win, whether we lose, whether we draw, we're a team. We build on performances and get better and stronger in each game. So that's why I think Xhaka is such a asset to this club. And I'm still stunned to this day that was managed to get him across the line, to be fair. I think you two both agree with that as well. It's one of them still mind-boggling facts that we can say in the pub quiz at some time. Granit Xhaka came to Sunderland. Let's get predictions on the way. Robin, I'll let you go for your prediction first.
Oh yeah, I suppose it's fair because obviously I sort of jumped in on Kez last week, but we did give it to him
And that way,
anyway.
I
But
haven't got to reverse my decision, not like VAR.
yeah, I'm thinking we're going to get a 1-1 out of this.
Okay. A nice tight game, yeah. Kev, come on then.
Adam, we spoke off pod last night. What score did I say to you last night?
You said 5,000-0 to me.
I believe my exact words were coming away with a point out of this would be unbelievable. A 1-1 or something would be great. So thanks, Robin. But no, I think look, let's be positive. Let's just go down there, do a smash and grab 1-0 and get out of there.
Yeah.
Let's go and do I don't know, Robin, throw a famous London heist at me. Let's do one of them and get out.
What, Hatton Garden, jewelry thing,
Just the Stamford Bridge heist.
Yeah.
Well, we've done it before, lads. We've beaten them down there before, so we've got to look at it. Go all guns blazing. I said to you off podcast that for me, it's a really strange one because I think we've got enough about us, but I think 2-1. Nah, not 3-0 for me,
For
Robin.
those that can't obviously watch this, this is where we will eventually when we go on YouTube video. That is Robin sticking three fingers up at Adam and telling him it's 3-1, 3-1 to see if he can sway his decision.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it's 2-1. I just think
He couldn't get away from 3 goals in a match, though.
no, I couldn't. No,
Well, I mean,
couldn't.
technically, lads, if we count the offside goal, my 3-1 was right last week. No, we're not taking it.
No,
Offside by a
not letting them.
toenail or whatever it was.
Yeah, so I think it's just going to be one of those. I do agree with you, Kev, in regards to a smash and grab, so to speak. And I think that'll be. I generally think if it does stay 1-1 and it's coming to say latter stages, I think how defensively sound we've been recently. I just think similar to what happened against Wolves, a Talby run or something like that, feed it to Isidore, Lefay, somebody like that, just to tuck it away and just be like, wait a second, we've just beat them 2-1. What's going on? It'll be one of them. I digress. Let's cut it all there, lads. Yeah, as per normal, yeah.
Tangents and digressions. Welcome to the Shipyard Cat.
Exactly. Wouldn't have it any other way.
That might be our new
no.
motto, lads. Get on the t-shirt quick.
Yeah, exactly. You're the editor-in-chief. You can do the designs. Thanks, lads, for joining me. Everyone else for listening in. It is much appreciated that you like, share, everything like that for us. It does mean the world to us. Robin, thank you for joining me. I know it's tiring for you when you're up too late.
Oh, well, it's not
Making
that
it sound
bad.
like he's an 85-year-old man now. Come on.
Yeah, I am still sort of like, recovering from a major operation, but, and I did miss out on my afternoon nap, to be fair. So, yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I'm not sort of like, in bed at 7 o'clock with a cup of cocoa. Yeah, I've got a few more years for that.
You say that, but off screen is a cup of cocoa. Go on then, Kev. Thank you for joining me, mate.
Yeah, my pleasure. Look, it's always, like I say, a blast when we're just chilling out and having a bit of a laugh about the games that are coming up, especially when the fixtures are like this one. But yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. Let's be honest, lads. Even whatever the result, we're still sitting top half of the table.
And regardless of what happens, a certain team will still be below us anyway. I don't know who I could ever be talking about.
Southampton. Oh wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Sheffield United. Oh wait, these are all
Yeah,
teams.
actually, I was going to say, I know it's a tangent if we've got time and that, but yeah, it does look like we dodged a bullet, not a point in Will still, though, doesn't it?
Exactly.
I watched their game the other night, lads. Honestly, what on earth is going on down there? Yeah. And then obviously Wilder got his first win. Sorry, Adam. But
you mean his third win?
I think we broke Sheffield United.
Wilder's got his second win.
Oh, boo. But yeah, let's not talk about the championship, lads. That's long. And
let's not talk about Wilder because I'll make a whole pod about how much I detest Wilder.
You can join a Sheffield United pod. Give them your thoughts.
Oh, I don't think I'd ever be allowed back. But no, lads, pleasure as always. It means a lot. As ever, everybody else, we'll see you on the next one.